Cancelled our honeymoon due to COVID. After the wedding, decided to go on a last-minute mini honeymoon. The first night we saw a plump little guy waddling across the sheets. Of course he's a bedbug. Did all we could to not bring them home. We were unsuccessful. My prior experience, I would say if you see one in a hotel, it's cheaper to shower and get in the bathing suit than walk your stuff to the trash rather than put it in your car and take it home. It's easy to buy new clothes and a bag. Not so easy to rid yourself of bugs. If you can't get rid of the gear, double trash bag it and zip tie shut, then toss things in a deep freeze for a couple weeks. I've also seen high heat work well, but it can melt plastics in your house. Maybe sauna lol? I was on a Navy destroyer and one of my shipmates went to a cheap hotel and brought them back to our berthing of 30 racks. Luckily we were in port, but it was still one of the worst days of my naval career. The ship's doctor had us remove everything in the berthing, all the mattresses, belongings, everything. Everything was segregated. We bagged it all and shipped it off. The mattresses were really expensive because they are specially designed and flame retardant. Finally, anyone who had physical contact and bites from the bed bugs was executed. I've had to deal with these fuckers twice. Once I brought them home from a hotel and once got them from my neighbor upstairs. My advice is to call a professional ASAP. The first time I tried to get rid of them myself and it took months. The second time I got a top-notch exterminator right away and they were gone in 2 visits. 10/10 would call an exterminator again. Good luck. Yeah, I had an ex move in with me while we dated and she brought them without saying anything till it was far too late. It was a nightmare that persisted long after she left, and I still get feelings on bugs crawling on me in bed. I had to get rid of my couch and bed to finally be rid of them, but I still check routinely. Do not go cheap on trying to get rid of them. Had them in my apartment after college. I was the lucky one and they were in my room first, so the first exterminator only treated my room. Well, 4 months later they were in all 4 bedrooms. Finally a new company was called by our landlord and it seemed to take care of it. I still have PTSD, anytime I see any kind of small speck on the sheets I freak out until I realize it's just lint. I check all hotel beds religiously. Oh god, only had them once, immediately hired a professional, treatment took a month still, 2 treatments 2 weeks apart for the egg lifespan or something. And it worked, but god, it was still the worst month ever. After the first treatment their dead bodies were everywhere and they started trying to survive by sticking to us, in our hair mostly. When we first found out we had them, we got the bed leg guard things, the bed bug guard pillow and bed cover things, and moved the beds away from the wall, but I still watched one climb up the wall and kamikaze jump to the bed a good 1.5 feet away from the wall. Nasty fuckers. When it comes to these guys, catching it early is never early enough. Call a professional and do all the DIY stuff that doesn't include chemicals. The professional will kill them, the DIY stuff is to keep them off you in the meantime. At my old apartment my next door neighbor got bedbugs and they had processionals come out that same week, used super high heat for hours, like 120+ degrees to the point that my next door app was in the 90s even with the air working, and they were gone. Thankfully they never made it to my apartment. Most nerve-wracking few days of my life. I found one my first year in college. I stripped my bed daily for a week and never saw another. I got unbelievably lucky and I was still traumatized and neurotic for months if I saw a bump or marks in a row. We've had bed bugs twice now, and what we do is after a vacation, no matter where we go, we run our clothes through the dryer on high for at least 30 minutes and it kills them. For the luggage you can use diatomaceous earth. I am not 100% sure why they use this. I think it dries out the luggage and makes it so they bedbugs can't leave. And if you wipe something down with isopropyl alcohol it should kill them, even better soak it. And anything that can go in the freezer, if you put it in the freezer for I think 24 to 48 hours it kills them. I'm not any expert, but my dad has done a ton of research because we've had bed bugs twice, fleas 3 times, and we are always infested with something somehow. Right now it's gnats and sugar ants. Yup, traveled for work for 3 years, 250 plus nights a year in hotels, and this is the only way. Never brought them home and thankful to this day. About 10 years ago I had a pretty bad infestation when a neighbor in NYC just let them take over his unit and they made it to all the apartments. That was absolute hell. Consider heat treating your home. Usually operations run by off-duty firefighters. They increase the temperature in your home using heat, and it's safer than using chemicals and other methods. It's also more effective because it gets in areas you otherwise couldn't, like furniture and mattresses. Interesting. Not up, but how high a temperature? Can I just put the heating on, or does it need to be more targeted and / or hotter than that? I've not had this problem before, but it's good to be prepared. If you use heat, put your receipts you need for taxes in the freezer while the heat is on, and for a few weeks more to take care of the bugs. Heat makes anything on thermal paper turn black. This. Lived in an apartment downtown while in college, and our room ended up having bed bugs. Landlord fumigated 3 times and we still ended up getting bites afterward. Threw away 99% of what we had in the apartment except school books and laptop. This worked for me. They brought some heaters, heated the place up to 125 degrees for 12 hours or so. From finding the first bed bug to calling and getting them here, my issue was fully resolved in 48 hours without any chemicals being used. Pretty sure they were off-duty firefighters too. Total cost? $150. My sil used the same guys and it worked for her too. Bed bugs are stupid difficult to get rid of. You need to wash everything you have in very high temperatures. In fact, do this at a laundromat because their machines get much hotter than domestic machines. Probably get a new mattress too. Hell, they might even be in your couch cushions, so a new may be needed too. Then you need to vacuum really well, probably several times, and be sure you empty the contents of the vacuum into a bag you can seal up. Those little bastards can crawl right out of a vacuum and back into where they came. Sucks this happened to you, but good luck. Edit. Forgot to mention that after you've done all this, spray the house too. Have Bug Mobile or whoever come out and do it. Their pesticides are probably better than what you can buy. Wanted to tack on, the older the house, the less likely they are to be fully eradicated. I lived in an older building and the exterminator told me that he could treat my apartment, but it wasn't likely to stick because of the building having too many hidey holes and other tenants, very messy folk, and that I was better off doing all of the above and move out while I did it. The building mysteriously burnt down 2 weeks after I moved. Literally no one in town thought that was a coincidence. I had a roommate bring them into my home. Only one thing works. Trust me on this. 1. Google bed bug companies near me. 2. Find one that has the massive heaters for rent that plug into your stove plug-in. 3. Tape off around the doorway so that it's sticky the whole way around. Clever little bastards will not touch the tape and stay in the room. 4. Remove anything flammable from room. 5. Remove anything that can melt, i.e. candles, pit stick, etc. 6. Spread out clothes, open drawers, separate box springs and mattresses. 7. Bake those little bastards at 60 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. 8. Move into next taped off room and repeat. Trust me on this, nothing else works. You will not find them all. You will not be able to pick them all out. Alcohol is a joke to the little bastards. Rent the oven and burn them to hell. In my case it cost around $600 to rent the oven for a week and there was a damage deposit. Worked like a dream though. If you have any questions feel free to ask. And for future reference, bag all clothes and luggage before entering home and tie off. Immediately undress and put clothes in washer on hot. Dry on hot. Repeat till all clothes and luggage are clean. Get your ass in shower on hotter than hell. Basically my routine after staying in hotels because these little bastards are infuriating. And I don't use the fancy luggage everyone else does. I use a military duffel bag. Get home and in the wash that bitch goes. Funny story. When I was an undergrad my roommate acquired some of these bastards, was my best friend who rented a house and I stayed there part-time in my own room. The other part of the time I lived on my grandma's third floor. I'm the one that discovered them at about 2 a.m. one night. I shit you not, I grabbed my keys, stripped naked, no shoes either, and ran 3 blocks to the parking garage where my car was parked. Hightailed it to my grandmother's house. Had some clothes in my trunk luckily. You joke about driving home naked, but we almost did this when we found a BB on us at the DR's office. We got a trash bag from the car, and walked into the foyer of our apartment, put all our clothes in the bag, and walked upstairs naked. Luckily we dodged a bullet. These bugs are insidious. This stuff is vastly more dangerous to your health than any chemical spray. I can't believe people are still allowed to buy it. If you get it in your lungs, it will cause irreversible damage to you. It shreds bugs, but it also shreds you. People get all gung-ho about it because they think natural equals safe, when the opposite couldn't be more true. Lots of people don't know that DA can be used to kill bugs. DA dries them out, and slices up their exoskeletons. You can even sprinkle it on your veggie garden to kill any leaf eaters. I put that stuff at the footing of the garage door and any insect that touches it is dead shortly after. Use a bulb blower or straw to blow DA into cracks and crevasses inside and you'll nuke ants, spiders, centipedes, silverfish, and more. The natural stuff is 100% safe to consume, washed off easily, and is kid/pet safe. You don't want to breathe it in though, it will mildly irritate your lungs. As someone who has enormous success doing their own pest control, I second this. Heat treatment is for linens and not anything else. These scary chemicals literally do not have the ability to kill you unless you take a swig from the bottle of concentrate, and even then it's not the active ingredients, it's the solvents. They act on parts of the insect nervous system that simply aren't present in mammals. I paid around $250 for fipronil, good for 6 months outside, even in the rain, and several bottles of deltametrin and lambdacyhalothrin along with some insect growth regulator, makes bugs infertile, over a period of about 2 years. A single visit from the local morons would have cost at least that much. I spray inside once a quarter and have not seen any living bugs in those 2 years. Invest in residual pesticides, they're awesome. 4 weeks with bed bugs is not ideal. I'd rather have one treatment and be done with it and then keep up with cleanliness to make sure everything worked. I'd rather not give them 4 weeks to hang out and maybe die. Between the 50s and the 90s bed bugs weren't a thing anymore in the developed world due to increased use of pesticides and personal hygiene. I remember in the 90s visiting a colonial historic center in the northeast USA and they showed us an old-timey bed filled with straw and said that's where the rhyme "sleep tight don't let the bed bugs bite" came from, because supposedly people used to sleep on straw beds that likely had bugs. Of course this information was wrong and bed bugs can infest any kind of bedding, but in the 90s bed bugs weren't even a thing, so the rhyme made no sense to us. In the year 2000 Olympic athletes at the Australian Olympics reported bed bugs and the press picked up the story, and bed bugs have been a consistent problem ever since the whole world over. The resurgence of bed bugs has been thought to be due to increased air travel and natural resistances. Regardless, every hotel in every city will have rooms infested. They can disinfect them easily enough, but they are always carried back into rooms, so it's a constant effort to find and eradicate them. I've been a commercial exterminator for 18 years. My advice when traveling is bring large trash bags or those huge Ziploc bags. Soon as you enter hotel room, bag your luggage and leave near the door, never use the dresser, etc. Always pack a good flashlight and inspect the linens, pull sheets back from head end of bed, mattress covers, box spring covers, etc. Google bed bug casings and grass for images of what to look for. Keep dirty clothes separate from clean via bags tied off, launder frequently, shower in AM before getting dressed. Launder belongings immediately from returning home and inspect luggage thoroughly before storing, and shower. Always assume the hotel has them. Oh yeah, and sleep tight. Far as having at home, you're probably better off doing your own research on these guys and treating yourself than what most residential companies. Save a lot of money. I had them when I was a little kid at my parents' house. My parents wouldn't believe me. I literally learned about them in school like 2 months before the bites started showing up. I always had the 3 breakfast/lunch/dinner bites in a row. I started sleeping in so many clothes in the middle of summer with no AC. Eventually I got pissed off enough and started ripping apart my bedroom. Ripping moldings off the floor, everything. I started seeing some of them and cried for my mom. She came running up the stairs and started having a panic attack. We found lots of them under my bed on the frame. It was a bunk bed that was turned into single beds. My mom immediately went to the store and got a bug bomb thinger and we used it. We never had bed bugs again. We got incredibly lucky. To this day I still can't believe a single fogger got rid of them, and that they were not in other people's rooms. I don't even know how I got them. I was basically a recluse and never went anywhere except school. My mom and dad were extremely apologetic and sorry that they didn't take me seriously initially. They beat themselves up over it for a good while. I was really upset with them, but I didn't realize later what good parents I had. They were so sad over something as trivial as bed bugs, when other kids tell their parents about much more horrific events and are never believed even when presented with proof. Fucking bed bugs. My wife's ex-husband has them constantly. He's probably treated his house a dozen times, but never does the immediate follow-up and takes zero precautions. He's even had the audacity to accuse us of having them and intentionally giving them to him. I'm extremely skeeved out by any kind of blood-sucking parasitic critter and have always been, probably a bit too, extreme in avoiding them and keeping my kids away from them. As such, my kids have never even had lice while his have had scabies, lice, a constant stream of bed bugs. Once, he even failed to inform my wife of a scabies outbreak on the kids, texting her after drop-off that there was an ointment that needed applied after baths to all the kids, head to toe. It was only after digging the ointment out of a bag sent with them and Googling it that we knew what it was for. Anyhow, thanks to my obsessive diligence, we avoided getting bed bugs for years. Until one day, my wife had to pick up groceries after picking up the kids and sent the youngest to get me out of bed, working nights at the time. She didn't just yell for me like she was told and instead ran into our bedroom, jumped on the bed and shook me awake. A week later, we were performing every trick in the book to get rid of bed bugs. I seriously considered just burning the entire house down. If hotels weren't so rampant with them, I probably would have. We had an extremely mild infestation, because my wife was even worse than I was, mostly from having dealt with them in the past, but holy shit, that was a stressful couple of months. Sorry to hear about the bug problems. We had an infestation years ago and I know it can be difficult to resolve. What worked for us was we put a layer of diatomaceous earth under the bed, wrapped the mattress in a mattress protector with a little D inside and kept our clothes in Rubbermaid bins while we steam cleaned everything. It took a while to resolve, but the D helped us quite a lot since not only is it non-toxic to humans and pets, but it takes away bedbugs' protective coating and kills them within hours. Now we always keep some handy for household pests. Good luck and congratulations. I am so sorry. This is one of my biggest fears. Last summer I kept getting bit by something. I tore my place apart looking for evidence. Mentally prepared to throw away or airtight seal or superheat all things. I hope you can resolve it soon. Sending good vibes. I used to do housekeeping in a hotel that was independently owned, which there meant they didn't give a fuck if we reported bed bugs. Me and two of my friends who were also housekeepers at that hotel finally left because it was disgusting how management would still make us go in and clean the rooms knowing there were bedbugs, and then had the audacity to tell us that guests were purposely bringing them in so they could get free nights. Gross. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment Reddit Story Time for more Reddit stories.